could this summer break help Red Bull regroup?
Definitely. And to be fair, since we've had a short break, since they got rid of Christian Horner, they've already had a little time to regroup. But I think getting most of the month of August to regroup is certainly going to be great for this organization. Max is Max. He's going to do what he's going to do and get the most out of the car, which I felt like he did today, and then surprise some people in the sprint race with his performance there. But Yuki Tsunoda, after qualifying, I had high hopes for him in this race. I said maybe finally, Yuki's found something with this car. I think Red Bull, gave him a new floor that seemed to make a difference. But then the race, another 9 points finish for him, I believe, and just a continuation, of his frustrating season with Red Bull Racing since he got promoted very early on in the year to replace Liam Lawson, who struggled at the start of his stint. But I think with the new team principal, Laurent Meck is taking over, that it's going to take some time for him to get up to speed and get this organization back on track, because you lose someone like Christian Horner, that's obviously a big loss for obvious reasons. And I think they did the best that they could this weekend at Spa, given the circumstances. And as time goes on, I think things will continue to get better within that team. But outside of Max Verstappen, there's not really a lot for them to, be proud of right now, because they're really struggling across the board outside of what Max has been able to do. But I do think the summer break will come at a great time for Red Bull Racing. Also wanted to add one more point on this question. I think the summer break is going to come at a great time for a young rookie sensation in F1, which is Kimi Antonelli, who is, he started off his first full season in F1, on a high note. But, once we got to the European season, it's been, a lot of disappointing finishes. I believe he has 1, 2, 3, 4 retirements, and then, finished outside of the points today at Spa. And some of the comments that were made by Kimi, entering this weekend, that he was saying, since the European season, I've been struggling to find confidence with the car, and I feel like I've done a step backwards. And he said that he feels like that he has no confidence, when pushing. And also a part of me makes me wonder, him and George Russell don't have contracts this year. Kimi Antonelli, is really, really young. A lot of people feel like he's been rushed up, way too soon to F1. And after a strong start to the season this year, everyone who felt that, including myself, were silenced. And then, struggling, to get results with the car lately, not having a contract under pressure, wondering if Max Verstappen is going to come over, and potentially take your place next year or anything like that. It just feels like, Kimi Antonelli is, really been eaten alive by the pressure right now, a bit in Formula One. So I think that this will be a good reset for him as well with the summer break.
Summer break, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Red Bull to especially just get that chemistry going between the new changes since Christian Horner left, the drivers, the mechanics, try to get all on the same page. I think you saw a little bit of how they were able to use this mini break to get it to where Max Verstappen, really just the nature of the race, stuck in fourth place. Yuki Tsunoda had some highlights, but still one of those deals where it just seems like Max Verstappen is going to be the one person carrying the team. With that said, though, all the other teams are going to be working throughout the summer break and what they can, because there's a lot of rules of what he cannot do during the summer break. But I think the big thing is just making sure everyone's on the same page, because after the summer break, you got September, October, November leading up to the championship. Might be an all McLaren battle, but what I think the teams will be working on is just trying to position themselves to be a stronger team overall. Red Bull, maybe start looking into the 2026 car. The constructors is clearly out of the picture. But I think the big distraction, so as you mentioned, Kobe, what's going to happen with Max Verstappen? That's really going to be, I think, the missing key for Kimi and George, future and Mercedes, how secure they are. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens after the next race over at Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as this question is concerned with Red Bull, they just got to figure out how they can make that car pass another car. Like, the car is perfectly fine in clean air, and I've been saying this since Australia, that they don't know how to pass with that vehicle right now. And, I think to further that point, Yuki Tsunoda qualified top 10 this week. Looked like he was on his way to a strong run. He stays out one lap too long on the inters when everybody else hit the dries and the slicks, and he lost all that track position and never could get it back. And as we saw, I felt like Charles Leclerc had a ton of problems today with grip, and yet he was still able to stay in front of Max the entire event. So I feel like if Red Bull is looking for a way to bounce back from this terrible beginning of the season, then they have to figure out how they can make this car pass other cars, because at this point in time, it just doesn't seem like they've got that under control.